All right, yo, what's going on, everybody? Sorry, I'm running a little bit late today. It is 3:01 here in New Vienna, Iowa. Sunday, September 13th, 2020. How's it going, everybody? I just got back home. My family just dropped me off. Basically, we were out at a state park doing some hiking. It's the first sunny day in about a week here in Iowa. And so the girls had been very cooped up in the house, and they were excited to get out. So we did that. And as we were coming back, there's a farm down the street that was selling pumpkins, like a whole bunch of them. And they were full in the morning, and like a couple hours later, they were just about empty. So we're worried that there's been a run on pumpkins. So the girls were like, "Get out of the car, Dad. We're going to go get pumpkins." So they kicked me out, and they're off getting pumpkins now. It's amazing. It's only been, 4 or 5 days since Labor Day, and already most of the houses in this neighborhood have pumpkins out in front. And I say pumpkins with a plural, not because there's many houses with one pumpkin each, but there's many houses with multiple pumpkins each. People here are, they are disciplined about it. And I think it makes more sense now that areas like this are areas where people are really upset when you start celebrating Christmas too early. I, for years, have been a big fan of thinking about Christmas or Thanksgiving as a pit stop, a lovely pit stop on the way to Christmas. And so, I'm very cool with starting to think about Christmas, basically after Halloween. But I figured out why people are so upset, because it throws off the rhythm. You have, you got your Easter decorations, your summer decorations, your 4th of July decorations, then, your Labor Day stuff, then Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas. If you start celebrating one too early, it looks like your house is out of order. And I feel like around here, remember what I was talking about with all the neighbors and the lawn and the grass mowing? You gotta keep things in order. So I think that's why people get upset about people celebrating Christmas too early. That's my theory. That's my theory. So the girls are getting pumpkins now from the farm down the street. And it's September 13th, and we're getting pumpkins. Go figure. How's everybody else doing today? We've got Frank LaHoulier. Frank, I heard you had a big PR yesterday. Good job. Bert Leguess is here. Cycle on Wednesdays. Met Ponzer, JC. JC said, "Hey, I just saw the thumbnail change right before my eyes." Yeah, I changed the thumbnail because it just uses by default the one you used last time. And I didn't want you guys to have to see that. So then I just made the shell for the live stream will be starting at 3. And then I made the thumbnail after that, so it took me a couple minutes. Terrence Hui said, "Made it in time." Yep. Mark Rainey says, "Pretty sure Kofuzi's watching the Seahawks too." No, I'm not watching any football. Right now, the only thing that I'm interested in about football is who's taking a knee at the national anthem. That's pretty much the only thing that I'm interested in. I do a family fantasy football league, and this year, normally we're back here in Iowa for Labor Day, and so a lot of times we would all be around outside on the deck at the big table, and we'd all basically be doing our fantasy football draft together, live, most of us. This year we're obviously not doing that, and this year my father-in-law and I were forgot until after dinner. We're "Oh, we forgot, the draft is tonight." What's going on with the sound here today? I'm getting real buzzy. Anyone else hear that? Sorry. So it doesn't sound. I think the battery's dying on this mic, so sorry about that. So after dinner we were "Oh, we forgot," and so we were it was 13 picks in, when we realized that the draft was on, and so I feel to give a synopsis of the way my draft went, the first 13 picks were pretty good, and then the last 6 or 7 after that were terrible. So I only probably messed it up and made it worse. Matt Ponzer wants to know who's my favorite football team. Right now, I'm rooting for the Bears from Chicago, but I haven't been paying very close attention to football. Probably for the last couple of years now, but especially not this year. Luis Becerra says, "Yo, what's going on?" PG1980 says, "How's it going?" I'm good, but I am tired though. I did a bike ride this morning instead of a run. I just did an hour and a half. So I would avoid kind of my pace prediction problems. I just rode for 45 minutes, and then once I hit the 45-minute mark, I turned around and came back. And that worked out pretty good. I like an hour and a half on the bike. It occurred to me today, though, that like, I think a lot about breathing. I think a lot about pacing. I think a lot about, like, at least when I first started running, I remember thinking a lot about like trying to focusing in on, like, almost meditating while I'm doing it. And I realized that while I'm biking, I'm like a kid. I'm just like looking around. I'm looking at my feet. I'm playing with the camera. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I'm very undisciplined. Like when I'm on the bike, I'm just kind of like out there pedaling. And I was like, what is bicycle breathing like? I don't know. So I was trying to think about that and trying to think about like, oh, okay, if I'm actually going to treat this like a distance or an endurance activity, how does an endurance cyclist treat this? So I'm trying to figure that out today. And trying to figure that out didn't make the bike riding any more enjoyable. I'm okay on it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I am thinking about putting some road tires or like some like a hybrid tires. Is that what they're called? Commuter tires on the bike instead of the nubby like mountain biking tires. I probably just need to get a different bike. But I'm determined now to take this Walmart bike to 500 miles. And then I'll get a new bike, I think. Martha says, Strava doesn't recognize the PR she uploaded manually when she joined. It still thinks my training times are faster than those races. Oh, really? Oh, that's weird. Stevie76 says, 50 years ago today, 127 runners participated in the first New York City Marathon in Central Park, and 55 of them finished. That's wild. To yesterday, I think yesterday was supposed to be the day that I was going to fly out to Boston for the Boston Marathon, but that didn't work out. And I forgot I had booked a flight on Southwest, and I forgot to cancel it until like the last minute. So like 2 hours before I was supposed to get on this flight, theoretically, I did manage to cancel the flight. So that worked. I mean, I didn't get a refund because I booked like the cheapest fare, so I have a credit. But who knows when I'll need or want to use that. But yeah. All right. Yeah, Mark Rainey says 13 QBs. No, I didn't get 13 QBs, but I was like, we were 13 rounds in, and so like I had a pretty good array of stuff. But like, I can't even name a person that I have on my team. Nope. I'm trying to think. I think I have the Baltimore defense. That's the only thing that comes to mind. And the Minnesota kicker. Other than that, I'm not really sure who's on my team. I didn't look at it that close. Yeah. Louis M says, yo, what's going on? Just got back home from Goodwill with the grandparents. Oh, that's cool. Did they take you shopping, or did you drop off a whole bunch of stuff at Goodwill? Because I think you could read it both ways, but I'm assuming you dropped off some stuff at Goodwill. That's cool. Yeah, we're just checking in. Just got back. The Dans have arrived. Plant Power Dan and Daniel M are here. Yeah, we came back from a hike. It's not a long hike. It's a mile-long hike, and it's kind of like just like a loop, almost kind of like an eye of a needle kind of thing. But for the kids, it's pretty rigorous. There's some like scrambling that they kind of have to do. It's not like I could run most of it, but there's parts of it that are very rocky, and it's a lot of fun. And there are some parts where you get really nice views, and they're quite dangerous. You can like look over the ledge and just like an 80-foot drop. And so it makes me and my wife nervous when the baby goes up there. Or then first my daughter will go up there, and then the baby's like, I want to go where she's going. And so then they both got to get up there. And so it's pretty fun to watch that. A little terrifying, but it's fun. But it takes us about an hour to do it, and it's about a mile long. And so there's lots of stopping, looking around at things, wanting to like use fallen trees as balance beams and like, balance across them. So it's been fun, and we did that. And we also played there's like a riverbank that we can go down to, and there's a little bit of sandy beach there, or like shoreline, and the kids made like muddy sand castles. It was not that great sand to work with, but it was like river sand. But we did that, and so hopefully the girls are exhausted. I know I'm tired, but I don't think the girls are exhausted. Steve76 says, where'd it go? Something about having a lot of flights canceled, or a lot of oh yeah, Stevie76. I have a lot of flight credits because of all my canceled trips this year. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I definitely think a lot of people do. Finn M says, ran my longest run so far today. I'm 3 months into running, and I did 15K in an hour and 10 minutes. Well, that's good. I think that we should get the cowbell out for that. So great job to Finn M. Longest run ever today. So great work. That's cool. That's cool. So hopefully the last 3 months of running have been good to you. Awesome. Daniel M says, I did an elevation workout yesterday. 2,288 steps upwards for 1,342 meters gained. That's a lot for me. I think that's a lot for everybody. That's a lot of, it's a lot of stairs. That is a lot of stairs. And it's over the course of 1.5 miles. So that's like that is just straight up. I mean, that's just like, just steps. Like one giant, was that like just one giant staircase? That's crazy. Yeah. Inez Dunbar says, I don't think you need to worry about your older daughter on rough ground. She looked like a trail runner in the making on the video the other day. Yeah, she wants to run through that trail. And so when she gets impatient, she'll run ahead and then run back. So my wife and I were both talking about the girls need some trail boots today. And I was like, maybe for the baby we get some trail boots, but I think my daughter wants some trail running shoes. My wife's like, what's the difference? And I was like, let me tell you. So I held myself back. I was like, well, I just think it's a little bit, it won't be a high top. It doesn't have to be a high top. And then, in case she's kicking the roots on accident, there's a little toe cap. And I don't know if they make them for kids. I would hope that they do. But I'm going to look for that. And in good news, little victories for me. Not that it's a victory, not that it's a competition, but yesterday we went for a long bike ride with the family. Even the baby. Sometimes we put the baby in the carrier, and sometimes she'll want to ride her bike. She's been really timid about the bike. I think she's worried that she's gonna fall. But she got on the bike yesterday for a little bit, and we rode around for a while. And then we did some walking, and then by the end of that, my wife was like, "Oh, my feet hurt today," and I think she talked about it a lot with like her mom. And so, like, I was just, like, kind of overhearing bits and pieces of, like, I think my mother-in-law and my father-in-law both had plantar fasciitis, apparently. And they were telling her about all this stuff, and that my wife needs to get orthotics put in, and that she should never be barefoot, and she always needs to walk around with shoes on. And I was like, I didn't say a word. I felt really proud of myself. And then, like, later on, like, an hour later, she's like, hey, remember those shoes you were talking about? Can you order me a pair of those? I was like, okay. But then I was like, oh, but she didn't like them because they were like gray. The women's Bride 13 does not come in black. And so she really wanted a black pair of shoes. So I was like, oh, maybe Triumph 18. So I'm like, well, take a look at these. And the Triumph 18s don't come in black and white either, but they're more like a black and white shoe. And I was like, this she's going to like. And then she's like, there's so much midsole on that one. She didn't say midsole. She said there's so much bottom on that one. He said, there's so much bottom on that one. It just looks like it just looks like an orthotic. And I was like, what? This shoe's amazing. But okay. So I have a women's Ride 13. Whoa, wait. Are you guys not getting my video? I see my video. What's going on here? Guys, my upload speed is not looking good. So if you guys aren't seeing me very well, hopefully you can at least hear me. But, yeah, it looks like my upload stream is a little bit weak today. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so I ordered the shoes for her, the Ride 13. A pair are coming. Hopefully it works for her. I think it will. I think any new running shoe is going to help her more than her Peg 36s, because her Peg 36s look pretty beat up. So, yeah. Let's see. Plant Power Den says, I almost bought the white SL20s from Runner's World. All right, let's get the sound out for that. He said he almost got the white. Planned Parenthood almost bought the white SL20s from Running Warehouse for $88 last night and this morning. I'm resisting temptation, but it's hard. That's pretty funny. I love that shoe. Martha says she's getting audio and video fine, so I'm not sure what's going on. Sorry about that. Some people are having some technical difficulties, so it's not just you, Bert, but some people are not, so I'm not sure what's going on. All right. Yeah. Chris McLean said, ran my 26.2 in the Carbon X today. Felt a hell of a lot better than the Zoom Flight or Turbo 2 at that distance. Awesome. Very cool. Chris, were you running the virtual Boston? That's still part of this weekend, right? Yeah, cool. Awesome. Tab Hunter says, good evening, everyone. Late logging in, 20 miles on the bike today, followed by virtual half. Ooh, wow. Not my best time, but furthest combined distance I've done. Pizza on the way. That sounds fantastic. I was really craving pizza. We didn't, I packed some lunches for us to have like while we were out at the park today. And the girls ended up playing so much, we kind of had to like cut out like eating time, so we're just eating in the car on the way back. And I was like, I packed like fruit and fresh fruit, dried fruit, cheese, summer sausage and pepperoni for the girls, crackers, and I was like, all I really want is pizza. So I'm definitely craving pizza for sure. Yeah, Chris McLean says he's running the virtual Boston Marathon. Very cool. Awesome. Eric the Red said SL20 is a shoe I didn't want to like, but it proved me wrong. That's so funny. All right, so Innes Dunbar says the Asics has the Venture 7 GS Junior trail running shoes. And then what was the other one? Was there a Saucony? I think there was a Peregrine I saw earlier up. So maybe I'll try that one. Oh, yeah. And it says, quick Google search, Saucony S Peregrine 10 Shield. Oh, 10 Shield? Ooh, Junior trail running shoes. I think she just makes, that's the thing is, she's 8. So, and she's a little bit small for her age. So, like, I think she's just now at the point where, like, she gets, like, kids' shoes, not, like, toddler and baby shoes. So I think, but sometimes some of those shoes only come in, like, the bigger kid sizes. So we'll have to see, but I think that I got to find her a pair. And then we'll definitely have to have a review. I'll have to have her on the channel. We'll do it like Jamie does when he has, like, the person that they sit next to each other and they do the review. We'll have to do that. That'll be pretty fun, I think. I think she'll like that. Recycle on Wednesday says, has your younger daughter started learning to ride a bike? Yeah, I wanted to put her on the bike without the pedals, but she hated it. She just didn't like it because I think she's very like cautious, and so she likes to move a little bit and then stop, and then move a little bit and stop. And then I think that like the not having the pedals or like the training wheels and how she constantly had to like be doing something actively like messed her up somehow. So she has training wheels and she'll ride that. And so she definitely made some strides yesterday. She's feeling very confident. She even fell over a couple of times. And I thought, well, that's the end of that. Well, day's over. But she's like, I'm all right. I'm okay. And she would hop back on the bike and keep going. So it's going well. So we'll see. We'll see how much that continues. I'd like to get to the point where, the 4 of us can go for a bike ride together. I think that's going to take a long time, but, you got to build up to that. The other thing that I was thinking about today is as we were leaving the park, the older daughter saw 2 people with like really big backpacks on, like bigger than day packs, like camping size packs. So like, I don't think you can be in that park overnight. So like, it was a little bit bigger than it probably needed to be. But like, it's probably just their big hike, or maybe they're getting ready for a bigger journey, and today was like a training type day for them. And my daughter was like, why do they have such big bags? I was like, well, some people like to hike all day long. They like to get started early in the morning, hike, have lunch somewhere else, keep hiking, have a snack, keep hiking, and just do that all day long. I was like, believe it or not. And she's like, I think I might like that. I'm like, all right, well, we'll have to build up to it because we've just done an hour and our family's wrecked. So we'll have to build up to it. But, if that's something that I think that we would enjoy as a family. So we'll see. Trey Gonzalez says, I just bought my first Kinvara after running in Nikes for years. All right. I think that's a good transitional shoe, like to introduce yourself to Saucony. But it is a lower drop. So, I didn't think it was a problem. I just think it made it feel like a different shoe. But that's a good one. I like the Kinvara 11. Steven Gersdorf says, what do you think of the Innovate brand? They're not that widely available in the U.S. I think that they probably make really fantastic trail running gear. But I also suspect that most of the stuff that they make is like more trail than I need. And so like I haven't really felt the need to dive into that brand yet. All right. Let's see. Andor Kish says, New Balance Fresh Foam Tempo or Kinvara for faster days? For faster days, I'd probably go with the Fresh Foam Tempo. I think that the new Kinvara, the 11 with Power Run, I think it like took a little bit of the edge off of the Kinvara. I felt like the Kinvara before fit and it was used in the very similar ways as I would use Pegasus Turbo. But this year, it just feels like a daily trainer to me. Like a thinner daily trainer. Frank LaHoulier says, my daughter gave up on our Sunday family hikes. I'm bummed about it. Ah, that is a bummer. But, I mean, I don't know how old your daughter is, Frank, but maybe that's one of those things where she just needs some space for a minute, and then she'll come back to it once she realizes that that was pretty cool after all. Plant Power Dan says, Innovate seems to make shoes built for the mountains. Yeah, that's what I feel like. I remember, do you guys remember Flo and Nord? Did you guys ever watch them? They're out of they live in Tasmania, which for a suburban kid growing up in New Jersey still sounds like a made up place. Just like I feel like the Wolverine seems like a made up animal. But Tasmania seems like a made up place, and he would run up the mountains up there and make beautiful running videos, just absolutely stunning. And he ran in Innovates all the time. And I was like, so I equate it now with really not extreme, but super intense. You got to get your navigation skills right, or otherwise you can really get yourself hurt kind of trail running. That's kind of how I see Innovate. Another person that I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately, one of the things I've been doing lately, I switched up, is in the morning when I do videos, when I make my videos for YouTube, I'll get up real early. My alarm these days is set for about 4:30 in the morning, and I'll usually work for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before everyone else wakes up. What I used to do is just turn on the TV downstairs in the living room and just keep it down real low and just listen to the local news. But as much as I profess to love very, very local news, the local news around here is challenging that hypothesis pretty strongly. So I've been a little bit not as enthusiastic about local news here. It's just not as interesting. And it's nothing about the localness of it. It's just, it's just not really captivating my attention. So I've been just watching YouTube videos while I edit, to the extent that I can. Sometimes YouTube videos are too captivating or distracting, so I have to turn them off. And someone I've been watching is Bo Miles. Do you guys watch Bo Miles? He's got tons of subscribers, and he only makes a video every month or so. But they're amazing. They're super amazing. They're they don't make sense for YouTube. They're not trendy. They're not funny. Sometimes they're very funny, but it's not slapstick. It's not modern type of YouTube humor. He's not a young guy, but he's my age, but he's probably younger than me. But the videos are amazing. They're 30 minutes to an hour long, and so just on YouTube. But really, really great videos. I think you guys recommended one of the videos to me, the one where he eats his weight in beans. I just finished watching that one today. But I've also been watching a lot of his other videos too, and it's really good. It's really good. I like those a lot. I don't know if he wears Innovate or not. I think he wears a lot of Solomon. He doesn't actually even really talk about his running gear almost ever, which is really weird for a channel about running. So, yeah. Emma Wilhelm says, late to the game, but I made it. Hey, Kofuzi fam. What's going on, Emma? Good to see you. And Captain Sparkist is here. What's going on? Mark Ray says, I wake up, pour coffee, and SJD. Bo Miles is amazing. Run the line. Yeah, the one where he ran that old train line. That's an amazing video. It's not a spoiler if I tell you guys this, so if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. But I think for me, the most maybe like unintentionally amazing part about that video is a time where he gets stopped by the police, and like they're just chatting to him, and he's a man running with a giant shovel, and they're just like, all right, yeah, people are calling, they're kind of annoyed, but we think you're fine, carry on, like that kind of thing. Like it was just like the police interaction there on so many different levels, just shocking to me. Like watching that, I don't know when that video was made, but watching that now in like September of 2020, it was really just like, oh, shocking. But that was a good one. That was a really good one. And his number says Bo Miles is a real character. He is, and I just feel like Bo Miles, that can't possibly be his real name. It's kind of like CL Furlong. CL Furlong's been in here. I don't know if he's here today, but he's out of Australia and makes running videos on YouTube. And I was like, oh, that's a really cute, like, kind of like how people have like clever Instagram names. I don't, but like other people do. And I was like, oh, that's clever. I was like, where did you get that? He's like, no, my initials are CLF, CL Furlong. I'm like, what? No, they're not. No, it's not. But Bo Miles, I don't know if that's his real name or not, but I assume it is. Jody Run says, Bo Miles is really about storytelling. Dan Whitehead has similar style where it's more about the story than the running. Yeah, what happened to Dan? He was making videos, and then I think his Crohn's disease flared up. Is he still making videos? He doesn't show up in my YouTube feed that much anymore. But I like Dan as well. He's like a younger version of Bo. Like a millennial version of him in a lot of ways. I hope he doesn't take that. I hope he wouldn't take that as an insult. I mean it as a compliment. Mark Rennie says, "Good on ya," the police said. Yeah, that's so funny. I like that. You know, I've been thinking a lot about the way, like, different dialects and accents and stuff. Probably because I'm immersed in just a very slightly different culture. You know, so it's not culture shock, but it's just like slight cultural difference here, from like Chicago to here, and then because it's only 225 miles from here to my house, but like culturally it's very different here, and people do talk quite differently. So I've been thinking about the way people talk here, and like the accent, it lends itself to when you have to project your voice a little bit more. And so like the way that certain vowels and sounds are like drawn out a little bit, it makes it a lot easier for yourself to be heard. Like from a volume perspective, I think. I don't think that's why Southerners and people that come from rural areas talk like that. I don't think that's the whole reason, but it certainly does benefit to that. So I've been also like thinking about like the way Australians speak, probably because I've been watching so much Aussie Man reviews. But some of the little flourishes of language, like good on ya, like those little euphemisms, like in the UK, some of them I just don't, I can't connect with it, like Bob's your uncle, like that one. Like some of them I just don't get. But like good on ya, like there's nothing weird about it. I totally understand what it means, but it's very regional and it's very endearing. I feel like I would pick that up fast if I lived down there. I feel like if I lived in Australia for like a month, I would have like a full-on Aussie accent. And people would be like, dude, you've been in Australia for like 25 days, you know? Like, what are you doing? You're faking it. I'm like, oh, no, it's just very infectious. It just, you pick it up, you know? So I think I would really like visiting Australia. But if I stayed there too long, I'd start saying things like good on ya. That's a good one. I just like good on ya so much. It can mean so many things, I feel like, you know? Anyway. Yeah, so that was a long ramble, but yeah, those just good storytellers. I mean, I feel like long distance runners should be good storytellers because you have a lot of chances to rehearse the story in your mind as you're running, but also you probably have told the same story on lots of different long runs before, so you have many opportunities to perfect the craft. Let's see what's going on. Chris Yao says, anyone have the Beacon 3? Trying to decide on getting a second backup pair of 1080 V10s or adding the B3 to the rotation. Yeah, I still haven't tried the Beacon 3 yet. That's one that I will get to eventually, I think. Well, I'm sure I will. because I like it. I just need to get some shoes out of my rotation first. I just have so many. Like, the last couple of days, we've been getting like some of the packages that come here come on FedEx, some come on UPS, and like I feel like before we were here, my in-laws got like one package by like UPS or FedEx, like maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks. This past week, we've been getting at least one FedEx and at least one UPS package delivered like every day, like in the pouring rain. So it was like very obvious when these packages came. And I just feel like they're like, what the heck are you guys doing? What are you bringing here? You know, I just feel like they're very confused. And then it hasn't even been that many shoes. But I just feel like every time I'm like, yeah, there's another new pair of shoes. I feel like my father-in-law's like, what are you doing with all these? Like in the mornings, he'll always ask me, like, how many did you run today? And sometimes I feel like he's kind of mocking me. Because the other day I was like, I did the 5 mile loop, just a regular loop around the neighborhood. So that's what I would say. It's like there's one loop. It's 4 lefts, you know. And so I do one loop around the neighborhood, and that's what I call my 5 mile lap. And I've been calling it just, it's just around the neighborhood. And so the other day I was like, I did the 5 miles. He's like, how many rides you run today? I'm like, oh, I just did 5. He goes, is that all? Just the 5? Not the usual 7? Because the other one that I've been enjoying is a 7 mile loop. So I was like, no, feeling a little tired today. So the weather's been kind of gross. So I think like he's kind of ribbing me a little bit. But I feel like, if he really didn't care, he wouldn't even ask. So I feel like he means it in a good way. But yeah, we live very different. We live very differently around here than most people around here, I think. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, T. Davis, how many did you run today? Every day. So. But he's like, yeah, he'll tell me, I don't think I could even walk that far. He's had double knee replacement surgery, so like, he's a super tough guy, and he used to be on his feet quite a bit. So, I try not to like rub it in. Like, yeah, I ran 12 miles like nothing today. I don't do that, but sometimes it feels like that when I say it. But anyway. Player Dan says, next time say, yeah, that's it. Nice and easy. You should come along next time. We got shoes you can wear. His feet are a lot bigger than mine, so he definitely could not fit. So I've been trying to get rid of or like see if any of my nephews would like any of the shoes that I'm done with, like after I hit the 100-mile mark. And many nieces and nephews, my kids are grandkid 10 and 11 on this side of the family. So I've been trying to figure out, like, I've got all these shoes that are in good shape. Some of these, one of the nephews even runs cross country. So, he's been running like on and off. It's weird. He has some sort of like bone growth, like a literal growing pain. And so, he's been running on and off, but I'm like, maybe they would want some, but, everyone here is giant. And so the only ones that might fit into my size 9 shoes is my, how old is he now? 13-year-old nephew or my 9-year-old nephew. Like, those are the only 2 potential options. The 13-year-old, he's like, I think he's like the runt of the family too. He's one of 5 siblings. But I don't think that he's much longer for a size 9. And then the 9-year-old might actually be in the size 9 pretty soon. So, yeah. So I'm trying. So I think they're just going to end up at the local, I don't even think it's a Goodwill. I don't know what it is, but there's a charity place where you can drop off stuff. So. All right. Tony Massi says, just got home from completing Virtual Boston. Daddy. 303 today with crappy SoCal air quality. Daddy? Yes.
We got 4 pumpkins.
You got 4 pumpkins? Is that enough? You didn't get one for Grandma and Grandpa? No, why not? No? Okay. All right.
I got 2 for you. 1 for Daddy, 1 for you, 1 for Mommy, 1 for me, 1 for Zoe.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome. I'm glad that they had enough pumpkins.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to go get groceries now?
Mom said she could stay for a little while.
Okay. All right.
Grandma and Grandpa went on a walk, so soon. They're back now.
Oh, okay. All right.
You didn't think they would be here that fast.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's the pumpkin report. We were able to get 4. I'm surprised they didn't get 6 of them. 1 for Grandma and Grandpa too. They usually like to get pumpkins in like size order, so they get like a small one for the baby, a slightly bigger one for the big sister, a slightly bigger one for my wife, and then the biggest one for me. Surprised they didn't get like 2 more, especially because the baby loves like Baby Shark, so she's very in tune to like there has to be a grandpa and a grandma and a mommy and a daddy, you know. So I don't know. We'll see. Daniel M says these corn-fed kids grow big. They do grow big over here. People are very strong over here. Chris Yao says carve a running shoe design into the pumpkin and make us guess what shoe it is. Next live stream event, you'll never guess because I'm bad at carving pumpkins. So it would just be like, that's supposed to be a shoe? That I don't think would work. I keep trying to convince my kids, like, you know what, this year what we should do? We should just leave the pumpkins orange and just don't carve them. Just make it like harvest, you know, like very like natural. Instead of like painting them like we've been doing or carving them, let's just leave them. We'll just buy them and let them sit. And they're like, what? No. And I'm like, no, okay, I tried. So. Yeah, I would just like to just not, I don't like carving pumpkins. Painting pumpkins is okay. It's just so messy. Chris says you claim you're bad at everything, not buying it. I mean, I'm very aware of what I can do and what I can't do. Well, I don't know that I'm bad at carving a pumpkin. I just really dislike it. I used to work on a pumpkin farm in high school, and we would plant pumpkins in the spring and pick them in the fall. And like I've touched so many rotten pumpkins in my life. Even touching like a not rotten pumpkin, like the carving the inside, is just absolutely foul and disgusting. I don't like it. I don't like pumpkins. Wheat City Soul says, you know the days when you just don't feel like it for no particular reason, can't get your butt out the door and are searching for motivation? That's me right now. That's all right, Wheat City. It happens to us all. Just hang in there. You'll figure it out. Graham House says, hi Kofuzi, hope you and the family are doing well. What is the most scenic marathon that you have run? Easily the Tunnel Marathon. It's 2,000 feet of downhill in the Pacific Northwest. You're running down a mountain. You run through a train tunnel, and you just get fantastic views over some bridges. It's amazing. So that's the most scenic marathon that I've done. I'd like to do a marathon in Hawaii. My wife wants me to do a marathon in Hawaii as well. So hopefully that will become the most scenic marathon I ever run. So like, I'm into it. Like I was really starting to get very interested in the idea of vacation races. Like they had one at like Zion National Park and like going to like a lot of the national parks to do like half marathons. Like I was super getting into that back before, like when travel was like a possibility. So like I like the idea of like trying to seek out like scenic marathons and half marathons. Leona Wong says try Big Sur. I've heard good things about that one too. Dan Rodriguez says following up on the toe socks from yesterday. I use Injinji socks because they have pinky triangle toe. Anyone else? Vampire Dan says pinky triangle toe is that a diagnosis? I don't know. My pinky toe is all sorts of mashed up. It's just permanently mashed up, I think. It like no matter what, it just always kind of looks gross. So, yeah. Inez Dunbar says we have given up on the idea of holidays abroad for a while and have bought a camper van. That's amazing. I also love the word camper van because it makes me think of Peppa Pig. Because camper van is not an American English word. The only time people in the United States have heard the word camper van is in Peppa Pig. So I just love the idea of that word camper van. But I mean, it's big here too. Lots of people are doing that. Who was I watching? There's a couple of like pro runners that have been doing that with their families too, because like we don't know where to go, so they would like they just got into a camper van or an RV as we would call them in the U.S. Yeah, is that the direct kind of like translation? Because I think camper van connotes like a different size to me too, but I don't know. I'll call them all the same thing. And then just go around. One of my buddies, the one that lived down in Austin, he did that with his family. They did a small one though. They were living out of like a converted like Ford Econoline van, like that kind of thing, and it had like a stove in it. I mean, you had to like you opened the back doors and then you cooked, so it wasn't like it had like a real kitchen in it or anything, but it had everything that they needed. And they visited a whole bunch of national parks that way. And I was like, you guys are insane. And then by the end of it, after I saw all their pictures, I was like, you are a genius. So since then, I was like, we got to do this. But again, it's one of those things where if someone's like, hey, Mike, my family and I were going to do this thing. We think you should rent a van as well and come with us. I'd be like, we're down, we're in. But like me trying to figure that out, I don't know how to figure that out. So, yeah. But I would love to do that. And then when we were down in Guttenberg, in town, there's a really big RV dealer. And so I would run by the RVs every day, and I was like, oh, those look kind of nice. And then I've been watching Going RV on the Great American Country TV channel. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, but it's like House Hunters, but with RVs. And so the couple shows up, and they talk about what they want. You get a little introduction into their life and their lifestyle. And then they look at 3 different campers. And then after they look at each one, they say like, Jim liked this and he liked this, but Jill really didn't like that. So let's look at the second one that they're going to look at. And then at the end, they make a decision. It's like, we decided to go with, and then it's commercial break. And then they come back and they tell you which one. And then it cuts to a scene of them enjoying the camper van, so to speak. And so I've been watching a lot about RVs. Although, like I love the idea of it, but I have very little desire to it because all I can think about is the maintenance. Something's gonna break, something's gonna happen to it, and it's gonna be like one of those long distance races that you run where you're like, oh, you just know from the beginning that it's not right. You're probably a little bit too banged up. You shouldn't have been showing up to the race, and at no point will the race get better. You're just gonna hopefully keep everything together with adrenaline and KT tape and a whole bunch of gels, and maybe you'll cross the finish line. I feel like me in a RV would be like that, where it's like, oh yeah, that door, we keep it shut with duct tape. That thing, the stove, it's never worked. The microwave, yeah, it kind of works, so we make all our meals on that and a George Foreman grill. Like, that's what I feel like would happen if I went in an RV. Like, this idyllic idea that people are trying to paint, I'm so into it, but I'm like, I know that's not true. That won't work for me. I know where my strengths are. That my strengths are not in RVing. Chris Yao says, House Hunters. Husband, I'm an aspiring biscuit photographer. Wife, I design and sell bracelets on eBay. Budget $850,000 US. Sometimes it is like that, and it's really weird. I'm like, how do these people afford this? And the other thing that I think is quite unusual about that show is that like all of those shows, like whenever they're like house hunting, they're like, oh, we just, I know you really wanted this kind of house, but we decided we'd just drive you out a little bit further to this other neighborhood. And you get a little bit more space, your dollar goes a little bit farther there. And people are like, oh, sure, why not? We'll look at it. And I'm just like, is that how people really buy houses? I'm like, what's the school district like there? What like, is this, like, what, is that Trump country over there if I go out that far? Like, that's what I think about a lot anymore. I'm like, what are my neighbors going to be angry that I'm moving in? Like, so I feel like you have to, yeah, that's the other thing that I feel like people don't, like, talk about enough on that show. I mean, I could see why they gloss over it because it's not something they'd probably want to address. But it's like the way that it's just like, oh, okay, I'll go take a look at that other house in this other neighborhood that I've never heard about before and consider spending almost $1 million there. That's kind of like weird to me. Yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a rant today. Graham Howes says, do you have any opinions on CB treatments as a runner? I don't. I've never tried CBD stuff before, so I'm not familiar. Eric the Red says, maintenance is the big problem with the RV. Yeah, and I've mentioned it before. I'm not good at maintaining things in like physical space. For example, the car that we've been driving, it's my mother. Well, like we bought it off my in-laws. It's needed an oil change for a good like 3 weeks, and I just haven't done it. I gotta get. And the thing is, my wife's uncle, my mother-in-law's baby brother, is a mechanic in Guttenberg. So we would just have to drive it down the street, and Uncle David would take care of it. I mean, we'd pay him for it for sure, but it's like I know a mechanic in the area. I could probably even change the oil myself, but I'm not good at doing that kind of thing. So, yeah. JC said, had a thought today that it would be cool to travel by camper van / RV and do half marathon in each state after retiring, of course. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking that I would like to, I keep talking about this Kofuzi World Tour, or maybe like at least most of America tour after, like, once I can get like a vaccine. And I thought, like, you know what, having like a van, like a RV might be kind of like an interesting way to do it. But I think that, like, if I'm just doing this on my own, like, I don't need a whole RV. I could just sleep in a car. Or I'd probably just sleep in motels or like the cheapest hotels that I could find anyway. I don't see myself, like, because, like, do you guys watch Potato Jet? Like, he has like his truck like decked out where he's got like a mattress that fits his truck bed, and so it has like the cover on the back so he could like sleep in it. That doesn't occur to me. Like, those are things that don't like pop into my mind. So, and the United States is such a big place, and time still is of the essence, I would always say. And so I'd probably like want to fly somewhere and then maybe drive throughout like a string of states, make a couple stops along the way. I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. But I would love to like have like an extended RV adventure at some point. But I mean, maybe I need to do that as like a men's midlife crisis kind of like group activity. City Slickers. I love that movie. I loved that movie when it came out, even though I was a teenager when it came out. But like, I especially love it now, even though I'm now older than Mitch and his friends were in City Slickers. Because I love the idea, and I still want me and my buddies to do that. I want to go on like a running camp. Where we like just run somewhere in North Dakota for like, you run 17 miles, and when you get there, someone has already set up a camp and a fire and food, and you just sit down and eat, and you're stinky and gross, and you drink a whole bunch of beers, eat a whole bunch of food, go to bed, wake up, roll up your tent, put it back in that van, and then that van meets you at the end of the next day. That's what like I want to do with my buddies, as our City Slickers adventure. But we gotta get my buddy in Austin running a little bit longer distances. He's more into like CrossFit and stuff like that right now. But that's kind of what I want to do. I want to have like a big adventure like that. But yeah. But maybe, I think there are camps like that, I think. But I would like to do that. And I think that'd be a fun activity to do as a Kofuzi non-elite training camp too. So I feel like there's a couple of ways that I can have that experience, I think. So. CV76 says, who's opening for the Kofuzi World Tour? I don't know. I don't know who would open for it. Probably like the theme music would be like the Trolls soundtrack or something. All right, let's do a couple more, and then I gotta go. Let's see. Frank LaHulier says, do you guys mostly follow people back when people you don't know and aren't local follow you on Strava? That's a good question. I don't. I haven't been following a lot of people on Strava anymore because it was just a lot of activities that I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know these people, and like, I had followed so many people that I didn't like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, that's their normal route. I felt like when I lost that sense, like I don't know that person and I don't know what that route is. Is it something that's a lot for them or a little? Then I felt like I was just giving kudos, which is fine in and of itself. That's okay to do too. But I wanted to like make, not that I'm stingy with kudos. I still go through and kudos everything that's in my feed. But like I found myself not that interested in my feed because I just didn't know who these people were. And so like even of the people that are local, I've started culling that list too, because it's like if I look at it and I like a lot of times if I don't feel like I can make a comment on it, then I feel like do I like know enough about this run that this is useful for me to have as information. So that's kind of like, you know, what I've been doing with it. But I know lots of people do it different ways on Strava. Christia says, I follow tons of people on Strava, all for different reasons. Same university as me, pro athletes, YouTube celebs, etc. Yeah, I mean, I like to have that variety. And, like, I will say, like, I don't comment on all of, like, I don't even comment on most of, like, Seth's anymore. But I just love this. Every time I see one of his, I'm like, what's the heart rate on that? And it's like, oh, 120. Great. Fantastic. He's still superhuman. Awesome. So, like, those are the kinds of things that I'll look at for sure. Martha says, what? Kofuzi, you mean you don't follow all of us? I think I follow all of you guys. If I don't, you know, send me a message or something. But I think I follow all of you guys because I know who you guys are. But, yeah. Crispin Greco says, you really wish you were a Forrest Gump model? I don't know what I would... I don't know what that means, a Forrest Gump model. But, yeah. We had a long conversation at dinner yesterday about me needing a haircut. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not that interested in going somewhere to get a haircut. And then my daughter's like, well, Grandma can give you a haircut. I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of fine, like, kind of having a visual reminder that, you know, the world still is upside down a little bit, guys. Let's not let down our guard kind of thing. So that's, you know, the beard is just not really even a beard, just the mustache though at this point is just funny. So that's why I like it. If that makes me a Forrest Gump model, I'm not sure. Yeah. Luz Becerra says that I don't follow him. I don't. Oh, well, I'll get that fixed. We'll get it fixed. Yeah. All right. So we'll figure it out. So yeah, we'll get that sorted out. We'll do that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's probably the most efficient way to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'll figure out a way to do that. I gotta figure that out. Yeah. Chris says, I think I am following you, Crystal. I think I recently started following you. That stands out to me. But I think I am. So, Tab Hunter says I have 10 followers, so he can keep an accurate track. All right, so I will go through. I got some Strava work to do. Let me take care of that. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I'll definitely take care of that. JC says I don't Strava, but you should know I'm blazing fast. JC, if you're not on Strava, how do I know you're blazing fast? You know, so I don't know. All right. Anyway, all right. Well, maybe Chris, then maybe I didn't follow you recently. There was someone else. I was like, someone else popped up in my Strava feed as like, you might want to follow this person. I'm like, I'm not following that person already, and I thought, Chris, it was you. Anyway, all right. Last question. Faceless review. Quick question. How much do you weigh? I think these days I'm closer to probably 145. Probably put on a couple of pounds since I've been here this summer, and I haven't been training very hard. Not like intensely, you know. So, and normally closer to 140. So anywhere around there is kind of like my normal equilibrium weight. All right. Well, that's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry for everyone else who's had some technical difficulties, and I'm hearing like a hum in the background that I just can't figure out what's going on with that. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll be able to get it all sorted. Apologize for that. Tomorrow morning we'll have a video, take you on a tour of one of my routes around here that I really like. And then we'll do, I think we're going to do Monday mukbang. I have to see. It's harder now because, like, you know, I have to cook for a 3 o'clock live stream, but I've got like daycare and stuff that I'm doing now, or preschool. So we'll see what I can do. Hopefully we can do it. But at either event, we'll have a live stream at 3 o'clock, and hopefully I see you guys there. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.